friends, how are you today? I hope all of you are in a good condition right now. Well, in this lovely morning, I would like to say thanks for the opportunity that has been given to our group to present our topic discussion this week, talk about language interference and code choice. But before it, let us introduce ourselves first. My name is Dina Stinjak and my partner is Anita Teresia Saragi, Hesti Malinda Manalu, Rahel Borusida Butar, and Yuniata Borutasoid. Then, without further ado, let's go straight to the next video. In foreign language learning, English foreign language, students will always encounter some difficult or problem in mastering it. When they are learning it, they are often making mistakes, whether in their speaking or in writing. Exactly. These problems are caused by the different system of mother tongue and thus of foreign language, especially in English. Foreign language learners sometimes get difficult in mastering in English. It happens because of the interference of the first language into English. So what they are find difficult will depend on the degree and maturity of what they have obtained in English. There are so many factors which influence the problem in learning English, and one of them is because of the interference of the first language. Then, the second factor that happens to students and make us difficult to mastering in English is code choice. Code choice refers to a speaker decision of which code to be used in given utterance. And in case of CS utterance, to what extent our different codes are to be used. Depend on sociolinguistic and conventional context, a speaker code choice may be unexpected to notice by other speakers, and is like to evict other speakers' subsequent code choice. Or, in other words, speaker might accommodate to other code choice positively or negatively. Alright, from the introduction above, the team presentation for today try to conduct 4 main points that will be discussed for this presentation. The first one is the definition of language interference. The second one is the types of the language interference. The third is code choice. And the last is the appropriate use code choice while speaking. Then, to more understand about it, let's discuss in the next videos.
Alright, for definition of interference, interference is language product by foreign learners or students which is influenced and even distorted by mother tongue of the learners or students. Interference may be viewed as an adaptive strategy in which the speakers tries to speak interlocutor's mother tongue although he has little proficiency in it. According to statements above, interference or transfer is language product by learners which influence on their mother tongue. It is occurs because the difference between native language and target language. Because native language and target language have own system, the mother tongue always influences in foreign language.
Okay everyone, so the next we talk about types of language interference. So the types of language interference based on components of language divided into 4. They are phonic interference, grammatical interference, lexical interference, and then the last, semantic interference. Meanwhile, the researcher will focus on grammatical interference when speaking that consists of syntactic and morphological interference. Okay, so the first one we talk about phonic interference. Phonic interference occurs when the speaker identifies the sound of mother language system used in the target language. After that, the speaker pronounces again and regulates this pronunciation using the law of the surge language phonic. Okay, next is grammatical interference. So grammatical interference divided into 2 types. So I'm gonna explain you the first type, which is morphological interference. Morphological interference occurs if the formation of word in a language absorbs the affixes from other languages. The affix of a language used to spell a word in another language, while affixes consist of prefix, suffix, inserts, as well as combination of affixes. For example, in Japanese, ketabrak, kebawa, kebagusan, dan keasinan. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, tertabrak, terbawa, terlalu asin, and terlalu bagus. The next type or the second type of grammatical interference is syntactic interference. Syntactic interference occurs when the syntactic structure of a language is absorbed by the other language. Interference can be seen in the use of syntactic fragments of words, phrases, and clauses in sentences. For example, in English, Indonesian Royal Jelita. In Indonesia, it will be Hotel Royal Jelita. Okay, we're gonna move to the next types of language interference, which is the third one is lexical interference. Lexical interference occurs as the transfer of morpheme or word of first language into second language usage, or it can also occur as the expansion of first language's simple word, that is expanding the existing meaning, so get new word, or it can occur as combination of word. For example, semua ini butuh planning yang matang. So in the slide, you can see the word planning is bold, which it has the lexical interference from English to Indonesian language. The last one, the last type of language interference is semantic interference. So semantic interference divided into three types. So the first one is expansive interference. Expansive interference is the importation of vocabulary elements of language into the other language. For example, demokrasi, politik, and revolusi are imported from Europe culture and vocabulary into Indonesian culture. So the second one is additive interference. Additive interference is the addition of new vocabulary with special meaning, although the existing word is still used and having complete meaning. For example, is the word uncle from English vocabulary. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, uncle is paman. And then the last one is reflexive interference. Reflexive interference is interference with vocabulary replacement as change of meaning. For example, the word saya in Indonesia is changed from Old Malay language, which is sahaya. Okay, everyone, that's all about the types of language interference.
Okay everyone, now we are going to the code choice. Code choice refers to a speaker decision of which code to use in a given utterance. And in case of a code choice utterance, to what extent the different codes are to be used. Code choice or language choice needs to be applied when we communicate with others. With awareness of code choice, we can talk better and more polite. Code choice is something crucial that give a big impact in our social life, because code choice supports us to have a good performance, good attitude, and good communication. Nah, the example of the code choice is Maria is a teenager whose Portuguese parents came to London in the 1960s. She used mainly Portuguese at home and to older people at the Portuguese Catholic Church and Community Center. But English is the appropriate variety or code for her to use at school. She used mostly English in her after-school job serving in a local cafe, though occasionally older customers greet her in Portuguese. I think that's all about the definition of code choice.
Okay, now we move to appropriate use coded choice in speaking. In coded choice, divided into 4 parts. The first one is social distance. The social distance dimension is relevant for instance, how well do they know each other? For example, What is the social distance between the participants? Are they strangers, friends, brothers? Kalala, for example, will use a different code to each. And for the second one is status. The status relationship between people may be relevant in selecting the appropriate code. A high status official in Bukavu will be addressed in standard Swahili in many contexts. In Singapore, English is the most frequently selected code for official transactions, regardless of the speaker ethnicity. For the third one is formality. Features of the setting and the dimension of formality may also be important in selecting an appropriate variant or code. In short, at a formal ceremony, the appropriate variety will be different from that used afterwards in the card porch. The variety used for a formal radio lecture differs from the use for the adverse. Okay, for the last is function or goals. Another important factor is function or goal of the interaction. What is language being used for? Is the speaker asking a favor or giving orders to someone? When Kalala applies for an off-ice job, he used his best standard reading Swahili on the application form and his most formal style of standard Swahili at the interview. When he abused his younger brother, he used in double. The code in which his vocabulary of insult is most extensive. The function is exclusive effective, and Kalala transmits its feeling effectively. Despite the fact that his brother doesn't understand much inaudible yet. So that's all about appropriate use code choice in speaking. Thank you.
Alright, ma'am, and all our dear friends, that's all about our presentation for today. I apologize if there are so many mistakes while our group present about the topic for today. And if we have some comment and question, I present you to ask it right now. And I think that's all for today. See you and goodbye.